Hey guys, this is Luke from Amped Airsoft, here to talk about a potential issue with HPA installs, that being your nozzle alignment. This issue can happen with any HPA system, regardless the gun it's going into. Thankfully, it's a very easy fix. Let's jump into it. Alright, so before you get started, make sure the magazine is not in the gun, your air is disconnected, and your battery isn't connected to the FCU. What we're going to be doing is shining a light down the mag well to look down the barrel at the nozzle. We want to make sure the nozzle is centered and not set to one side. So as you can see, the nozzle is down and to the right, and it needs to move left and up. Alright, so now what we have to do from here is take the gun apart and pull out the gearbox. Alright, so now that you pulled the gearbox out of the gun, what you're going to want to do is mark a hole on the side opposite that the nozzle needs to move. So in this case, since the nozzle was set to be down and to the right, it needs to move left and up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the pen, you're going to mark, you want to go on the front of the gearbox here where it's not going to protrude into it at all. Usually around like the corner here, make a little dot. What we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole all the way through it. Then we have a screw over here. We're going to tap this screw all the way through the gearbox. If you don't have access to a drill or you're not comfortable with drilling into your gearbox, other alternatives are stacking layers of duct tape on the side or a solid buffer like a piece of plastic or an eraser head in place of the screw. There's just a side note before you begin, you want to make sure that the drill bit you're using is a size smaller than the screw you'll be using because the screw needs to thread into the gearbox. While you're drilling, you want to make sure you start out slowly so that way you make an indentation and your drill doesn't slide off and scratch up your gearbox. Alright, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to tap the screw into the gearbox here. Now you want to have a fairly lengthy screw as it does take a little bit of distance from the gearbox to the shell of the gun. Now you will notice that this will go pretty far into the side or into the center of the gearbox here. So this screw will solve the horizontal problem. What will fix the vertical problem is putting a single layer of duct tape on the bottom of the gearbox here. And what that'll do is that'll push up inside the receiver, creating just enough space so that way the nozzle will be centered. And there's the piece of tape underneath the gearbox. So now what we're going to do is we're going to install it back in the receiver and check the alignment. Just a side note, when you're reassembling the gun, the order in which you do screw everything together can affect the alignment on it as well. For example, if you tighten the grip down first, it can pull the gearbox up, or if you do the stock screw first, that'll also pull it up. Doing your fluoro pin will pull it down, but nothing really adjusts the horizontal alignment. So I just checked the alignment. It looks like I went too far left now, and it needs to come up a little bit as well. So now I got to take it apart. I'm going to tighten the screw into the gearbox a little more and put another piece of tape. Alright, well now that I have the nozzle alignment adjusted, you can see that it's more centered in the hop up. We're going to go test it now to make sure that it shoots straight. Alright, so that wraps up nozzle alignment. As you can see, it was pretty painless, but depending on how severe your nozzle is misaligned, it can be a more lengthy process. But I've been Luke, and we'll catch you next time.